Next up in Divine Dreamers, we'll be moving on to Karen Pearce's chapter, which is titled Out-of-Body Experiences and Lucid Dreams. So the first highlight I got, an important aspect of this learning process is to realize that it is a very individualized process. What works for one may not work for others, and only through persistence, diligence, and concentrated effort can you find the right way for your own learning. And then this just kind of reminds me of something that Joanna said in her chapter, so we'll revisit that really quick. Rather than surrendering your power to others, including taking my word for it without question, you can discover it for yourself by tapping into the wisdom of your dreams. So basically getting that, sure, take tips and tricks and techniques from other people, but what you really got to do is get in there yourself, test out these different things, experiment with your own dream work practice, and then see what works, for you personally. Next up, Karen talks about the importance of dream journaling. So when it comes to dream recall, one of the most crucial things you got to be doing is dream journaling. She points out how there's different ways to do it. You can do it with a piece of pen and paper. You can use an online blog, which is kind of what I use. I mean, not a blog, but I like to do mine online. I use Evernote, and I find it to be I like writing down. I think I retain things better in my head when I do write things out by hand. But just the convenience of having it electronically, where you can search out keywords for it, you can get in there and edit things easier. I really prefer to do it virtually nowadays rather than having a handwritten journal. She also points out how you can use audio recordings, either to record the entire dream, but to me that always sounds like a bad idea, because then the only way to kind of go back and listen to it is you have to just listen to it front to back every single time. But the way she likes to use audio recordings is she'll do a kind of combination of that with handwritten journals, so just audio record little snippets of things or specific words immediately upon awakening, and then after that she'll use those audio recordings to help jog her memory when she is writing it out by hand. And she has a really interesting technique in here that she calls tagging. So this is done when you're in the dream, right? So you're within the dream space, you're lucid, you're going through different dream scenarios, and what you'll be doing as you're going through that is putting certain words to go along with whatever experience it is you're having within the dream. And then you just kind of drill those specific words into your head. And then when you wake, you kind of repeat those words over again. And that can be like your kind of anchor to, I guess, go ahead and make an audio recording with those tagging words if you want. Or if not, just kind of commit that to memory. And then when you're up later in the morning journaling everything out, you just bring those tagging words to mind. And then that can help jog your memory to help you write out more details from your dream. Another very important aspect of this is keep your eyes closed, right? So when you wake up, if you want to have good dream recall, you really got to try to build in this habit of once you wake, don't open your eyes. Like once that visual stimulus of the waking world comes rushing into your brain, it really quickly can just blank everything out. So you really want to try and get into the habit of keeping your eyes closed when you wake up, running through the dreams in your head, and then, so you can remember it later to go ahead and journal. If you have a hard time building this habit, what can help really good too is you go to sleep with an eye mask on. That way, if you do initially wake and you do open your eyes, it will still be all blacked out because you got an eye mask on. So that can be beneficial. Dream and OBE control. So here she mostly talks about affirmations and how she likes to use them. One thing important to point out here, you can't just say it, you must powerfully affirm with emotion and strong intention, right? So you don't just, think these words in your head, you want to say it with strong, emotion and intention to go along with it. Then she lists some of the affirmations that she likes to use. One of them being, my mind remains aware as my body falls asleep. And then she alternates that with, now I am out of body. This is repeated over and over as I fall into a dream state, along with visualization of energy moving throughout my body. Once I feel the vibrations and move out of body, then she switches up her affirmations a bit. One of them being to the door. I'm not really sure why she would use that specific affirmation, but that's one. And then the other one, which I definitely could see why she would use this one, is clarity now. So whenever you call out different commands like that to the dream, it can really work well at doing whatever your command said. So I use something similar. Ones I like to use is like increased vividness or increased stability. And that to me has worked really great. So just, if you're lucid in your dream, experiment with calling out different types of commands, see what comes naturally to you, and then see how it, affects the dream experience that you're in. Next up, she talks about fear and OBEs. I don't really have much highlights in here. I'll just kind of highlight this right here where, there's actually nothing to be scared of or fearful, right? Even if you have a dream of, you're being possessed by some demon or something, at least it's never been proven otherwise yet. You will always wake up fine and not actually possessed. So, typically speaking, the dream environment is very safe. There's nothing to be actually fearful of in there. Then she talks about trusting your instincts, listen to yourself, but also find like-minded people. So, kind of getting back to what we said in the first highlight, listen to yourself, trust your instincts, but it can be helpful to go find like-minded people to help, help you along your journey. And geez, I had more in here than I thought. The next one, are dreams real or are OBEs real or just dreams? And I wish she went more into this this section of her chapter and kind of would like get into the debate of the whole thing, but it doesn't really go that direction. I got one highlight in here. When I think I am still awake, yet may be hearing some strange noises or feeling that someone is nearby, it can be a clue that I may be in a dream state. When I think I am awake, but I am not certain, it is generally the best indicator that I am not awake and I'm ready to go. And it's a really loud motorcycle. Hopefully that came through, but that is a really good point, right? A lot of times when you're not sure if you're awake or if you're dreaming, a lot of that, at that point, you actually are dreaming. Like something that happens to me a lot when I'm dealing with insomnia is I'll realize I'm actually dreaming of being awake, suffering with insomnia in bed. But then later on, I realized, oh wait, I was just dreaming of that. It wasn't really happening. As a funny little side note, at least for men, it's very easy to check if you were actually dreaming or not, because whenever we hit REM, we get aroused. So, if that starts to happen, check your pants, and then you can see if you were actually truly awake or if you were just dreaming of being awake while you were in bed. Jeez, man, I had a lot of highlights in here. Oh, and then to kind of wrap it up here, she talks about how I induce OBEs and lucid dreams. So we'll just kind of go over this really top level stuff. But step one, she likes to use visualization. I start with active visualizations, which includes seeing energy, a white light, entering the top of my head on the inhale and exiting my feet on the exhale, and recirculating back up and re-entering my crown chakra with each breath. Step two is affirmations. Using the affirmations keeps my mind from wandering and will allow me to focus on any changing body sensations. Be sure you are not too awake when you start, or you will quickly get bored with this. That's a very good point. If you start doing your affirmations, when you initially lie in bed and say it takes you a half an hour to fall asleep, that's a long time to be doing affirmations. So, kind of relax, start drifting towards sleep, and then, just through experience and practice, you can experiment with when you want to exactly start to bring in these affirmations. And then step three, kinetic sensations. Many times before the loss of my awake consciousness into sleep, there will be a falling sensation, which is my signal to remain aware and see what happens next. So basically, when you have that fall sensation, that's a very classic sign of stage one hypnagogic work. So, once you kind of hit that, it typically means you're in like stage one of sleep. And then if you want to have, an actual like legit OBE or wild lucid dream, then you got to slip from stage one into REM. And, witnessing that transition is a very cool thing. And that's typically when you have a classic wild or wake initiated or wake induced lucid dream. Geez, what else I got in here? Okay, final thoughts, and I think we'll wrap it up with this. In summary, remember that a very important part of this learning adventure is to record your out-of-body and dreaming experiences immediately upon waking. Either with a journal or audio device, your subconscious will help you have more experiences since you are setting that intention. All right, so with that said, that'll wrap it up. And then after that, of course, at the end of every chapter, it goes into a little about the author segment where it talks about their like life story and things like that. Anyway, with that said, that wraps it up. Until the next video, keep your dream work practices legit.